Hello everybody, how you guys doing today? It's Joey again, and today I'm trying to do something just a little bit different. I'm going to do a little voiceover video here because I have a little bit of a concern that doesn't require me to actually use a camera. More or less it's a discussion, and the discussion is called smart detecting. Well, I've been selling a couple of my metal detectors to people here on OfferUp, and I've come to a certain point to where I just needed to discuss. A couple of these guys have called me back and contacted me after they bought a detector, and they're saying they can't find nothing, and they're disappointed. It's not what they thought it was going to be, and they continuously say that they try and they just find nothing but trash and junk, and it's a waste of time, and basically they just want to give up. And this is really odd because, this is only like a week or two after I sold them the detector. And it's really crazy because when I first see them, I see that look in their eye. They had that look in their eye like, they got the bug, man, that they're going to go out there and, their metal detector is going to beep. They're not even going to have the right tool to get it out of the ground. It's just a detector beeps, and that means jewelry and silver and all kinds of wonderful shiny stuff. And that's just not reality, man. And what I really need to discuss with you guys is the difference between expectation, right, versus reality. And the expectation that you have doesn't coincide with what the reality is. Now, I don't want to tell these guys, as I'm trying to sell them a detector, hey man, prepare to find nothing but a bunch of garbage because 98% of what you're going to find is trash. I don't want to say that. That would be like talking a person out of buying the detector. Am I here to sell a detector, or am I here to make you discouraged about trying this hobby out, right? I'm here to sell you something that you want, but also push you into the right direction to where you are, happy with being a part of this, in this hobby, and giving you the best chances for you to succeed. So anyways, guys, I keep trying to tell people, don't fall for the hype. I know you guys are watching a lot of these YouTube channels of guys wearing all these logos, jumping around and smiling and holding up their fist with a find of the century. And some of that stuff might be true, but how many months, how many years have these guys been doing this? How many thousands of hours? Have you guys seen Paystreak Super Freak? Have you seen just how crazy and active this guy is? I have never seen a detectorist as hyper as this guy. This guy right here, man, is like the king of extraction because he does not play. This guy just sweeps like 900 million miles an hour, and he gets down there and comes right back up. If he says that he digs 200 holes in one day, I'd believe every bit of that. I dig 25 holes and I'm already shot out. You know what I mean? A lot of us don't even have the discipline, nor do we even have the conditioning to dig 25 plugs by hand, get down on your knees, search for it, cover it back up, and move on to the next target. If I go out there and hit 50 holes in one day, man, I felt like I've done a ton of hunting. But for a guy like Paystreak, man, 200 holes in one day, that's just average for that guy. So guys, you're going to need to have your expectations in check, So, when we talk about, what you expect, look, if you expect to find jewelry, obviously you would expect to find jewelry at a jewelry store, right? You wouldn't expect to find jewelry in a dumpster. Now, what are the likelihood if you go to a dumpster? Could there be some jewelry inside there? It is possible. Anything is possible. Hell, it's possible for you to drive cross country with just your feet on the steering wheel. Anything is possible. But probable. I am a probable detectorist. I hunt on pure probability. I do have an expectation when I go to a park. I do have a considerable amount of money invested in my machines. And I do want to open up the best possibility for me to find good things and come home with something and not just waste 3 hours of my day digging up chewing gum wrapper, nails, pull tabs, and just straight trash. So I am pretty selective in where I go. And I think it out when I take a look at a park. I do have a game plan. I do take a look at this area, and there's reasons why I choose this area to come out and spend my time, right? So once again, we're going to talk about possible and probable. Okay? And also the other thing that I want to discuss more than probability is what type of detectorist are you? You know, I mean, these guidelines that I'm giving you, if you're like a leisure detectorist, which means you're just typically the guy that just don't really care. You know, you're gonna go to an area. Hey man, I'm gonna swing my detectorist around. I'm gonna dig beeps. I'm gonna go to the ground. If I find a pull tab, hey, it's just a pull tab. If I find a rusty coin, hey, it's a rusty coin. La-di-da-di. I'll spend 2-3 hours out of here, and when it's all said and done, I'll just put my detector in the garage and call it a day. I don't care. I'm not keeping score. It doesn't matter to me. You know, if that's you, then none of this stuff in this video here probably will even matter. But if you're anybody like me and you do want to find something of relevance, then, you know, you are going to definitely need to come up with a game plan and use a little bit of logic and pick your areas well. Don't just think that you're going to go to a bus stop in front of 7-Eleven and there's going to be some type of ring just laying there. Once again, if you look in a dumpster, expect to find garbage. If you go to a jewelry store, expect to find rings, right? So again, where do you guys go and why? That's another thing that I ask these guys when they contact me and they tell me, hey man, I didn't find nothing, man. I'm just going to send my detector back. I'm going to sell it. I'm sending my stuff back to Amazon, dude. This isn't for me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow. I mean, less than a couple of days and you've already given up. Whatever. You know what I mean? I said, it wasn't for you, man. I mean, you have no patience and you haven't dialed in. You're like a radio station dial that's wide open. You crank it all the way to the left and crank it all the way to the right. You have no select radio station. You haven't zoned in on what you're good at, and you haven't even refined your process of hunting correctly, how to detect, you know, you haven't keened in your senses. You don't want to. You're not ready for this. This is not for you. You know, and it's not for everybody, man. It doesn't mean that you're horrible or a bad person. It just means that, you know, this hobby, it's not made for you. You know, you're not conditioned for this, and you don't want to give it a chance. So giving up may be the best choice for you, and I don't know, maybe there's something else out there that's going to give you an immediate reward. You know, I guess go to the pub and play darts with your friends or something. I'd have no idea. But you know, why do you believe? But once again, you know, why do you believe that you're going to find all this jewelry right here? I mean, I see some videos of guys going to these areas, and I just looked at this area and I'm like, dude, that looks like a very boring spot that nobody ever goes to. You know, like if I drive by a little teeny park, like a private park in my neighborhood, and I notice that nobody ever goes there, the likelihood that something good is there is going to be low. Is it possible that something could be there? Sure there is. I mean, do I really want to invest 2 hours of my day sweeping across this abandoned little area that nobody ever goes to? I don't know, maybe, but not really. I would rather keep my eyes and ears open to the hot parks in my neighborhood and pay attention to the holidays when people are actually out there and actually playing and practicing soccer, baseball, frisbee, throwing stuff with the dogs, volleyball, barbecues, you know, all kinds of stuff going on at a park. An active park has a very high likelihood. And also take a look at the caliber of people that come out here, man. I mean, you know, like the better neighborhoods, I mean, I like going to the better neighborhoods because the likelihood of somebody there having real jewelry as opposed to fake jewelry or some costume jewelry, even better. You know, I mean, yeah, I mean, so I've dug what expensive vapes. I've found, people dropped eye watches laying down on the ground. You know, I'm not saying that, the trashier neighborhoods are going to give you less things, but what I'm trying to say is, come on, guys, use a little bit of, common sense when you decide that you're going to go somewhere and pick things or detect, because if you have any expectations and you go to trashy, bombed out areas that nobody frequents, you're basically looking in a dumpster for gold. Could there be something in there? Yeah. But the likelihood is no. And if I'm going to detect on likelihood, I'm going to definitely want to go to high traffic areas where lots of people come. And that'll increase the odds that I can find something. And lastly, we're going to talk about a game plan for park hunting. Where do you start? When you come out to a park, where in this park do I start? Am I just going to mindlessly run out here and just sweep my coil real fast across the whole place and hope that I covered everything in a mindless manner? I mean, could you come across something? Sure you could. But once again, you're detecting on pure possibility and hopium. Whereas if you actually have some sort of a game plan, then you're going to employ it. You're going to take a look at the hot zones, is what I call. This is the probable areas where people are going to be hanging out mostly. You scope out a park, you take a look at the highly trafficked areas where the kids are always out, where the traffic is normally at, where do the people normally feel comfortable. There's certain areas of the park that are just like the atmosphere and the feel and the vibe of that side of the park feels good. It's pretty. The landscape on this side is very, very nice, and they get that feel of comfort. People actually picnic out in this area because as they look around, it's very scenic and very nice and breezy. Yeah, man, that's the hot area. That's the area that you're going to want to hit because everybody sits out in this area. Then you're going to have these dismal parts of the park where it looks depressing. It feels depressing, man. You got to use your intuition sometimes. You go to this park over here and you're like, dude, I would come to this side of the park if I had to take a leak and I didn't want nobody to see me. This is where I would go. I would take a leak right over here against this tree. So, and I can instantly feel the area that I'm like, there's no reason for anybody to even want to be over here. Just the feel of this area is depressing. I wouldn't even want to be over here. And I generally avoid that. Now, can I be missing a big nugget and a gold chain and all this other, Mr. T dropped his, wallet? Yeah, great, sure. But in my 8 seasons of doing this, and I'm not nobody, I'm nowhere close to being as skilled as, Paystreak. But I can tell you this much. I feel that I've developed an intuition when I go somewhere, like a magnetic pull. Areas of the park pull me in this direction because it feels better. It just seems like common sense would dictate that people would gravitate towards that side of the park, that area. And that's where I would start first. And then if that came up fruitless, that doesn't mean nothing is there. It just means that, hey, everywhere that I've swept, I either ignored a tone, maybe I was being selective and cherry picking instead of actually digging every single thing, and maybe I just walked over a couple of things. Maybe I'll have to come back. But it could take you a good few days to a week to seriously detect a park and grid it out correctly. So remember, when you start at a park, look for the hot zones, the comfortable areas, the real beautiful scenic areas where a lot of people would normally typically set up shop, blankets, lawn chairs, where they would throw footballs and practice, and go to those areas and try to knock that area out first just to utilize the time that you have. And if you have more time to kill and you didn't come up with nothing, then go to the possible areas. Everywhere else in the park is probable or possible. Alright, so anyways, guys, that's all I have for you here today. I just wanted to make a quick little video to try to help these guys out that, bought a detector and just now they're feeling like it's not for them and they just want to give up. I'm sorry if you really are going to pack up shop and leave the game. I really feel terrible that you're doing that because I didn't collect all the things and I didn't gain all the wisdom and knowledge of this stuff because I went out there and I instantly found a treasure chest full of gold. there's been plenty of times where I just dug up things of interest, and there's been plenty of times when I'm just like, wow, nothing but crusty zinkins all day. But then that special day comes up when you put your digger in the ground and you pop that plug and you see something green, emerald, and shiny, and you pull it up and you're just like, Jesus Lord, thank you. It's been a long time coming. And that euphoria of excitement, it all pays dividends right then, right there. You know why you are the person that is doing this. You know why you are part of Detector Nation. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys got something out of this. If you did, please feel free to give me a thumbs up, hit the like button, and subscribe. And I'll be pulling for you. I'll see you guys on my next video. Have a good night.